guys, so we are back in the Ranger, and I just wanted to show kind of the next project, what I'm having issues with and what I can diagnose for the solution. So the car is on its way warming up. You can see my gauge system here, my fuel, engine coolant temp, the speed I'm going, my oil pressure sensor, which is malfunctioning, and then over here I've got my battery sensor. So when I'm moving at a normal rate, my RPMs are good, my battery level on that sensor over there is good. But when I come to a stop, I'm going to put my blinker on, come to a stop at the stop sign, and you can watch that gauge fluctuate. That to me is indicating that my alternator giving power back to the system is not functioning correctly. See how that drops down? When I give it a little gas, that moves. So something with the alternator's voltage regulator, well, how it's putting power back to my battery and the charging system of the car, it's not functioning correctly. This gauge is really supposed to be consistent. And so one thing that I can do some further diagnosis on this issue is when I get back to my garage, pull out my voltmeter and check what the battery is charging at. When the alternator is functioning correctly, it should be around 14 volts at the battery, maybe 14.1. There's some variance there. Your 12 volt car battery normally will read, when the car is off 12 volts, when it's on and everything's functioning correctly, should read 14 volts at the battery. So we're gonna get back here to the garage. I'll pop the hood and kind of show you that whole process there too. Okay, so the car is off. My voltage meter set to volts on DC current. Positive, negative goes to the terminals of the battery. And we can see that because I've caught this issue early enough, let me ground this here, show my battery is still holding a charge. It has not destroyed the battery. So 12.7, which is good. I'm going to start the car and show you as it's on and running, that alternator is not, again, it's not showing a charge back to the car. So let me see if I can get this grounded correctly. And then maybe under the car. Start it. There you go. Okay. We'll jam this in there. So there you have it. A pros and cons of the bad ground there. Okay, let's leave that there. Okay, so 12.6 with the car off. I'm going to start the car, and this should read 14. now that the battery gauge is starting to go down a little bit, I can see that in the car. It's drawing less current here. It's showing less voltage here. So really, that alternator is not doing anything. If anything, it's actually hurting the system, causing more resistance on the serpentine belt. Alright, so after we've gone through reading the gauge, fluctuating, and then diagnosing the battery voltage is going below that 14%, I believe that the accurate diagnosis would be there is something wrong with that internal voltage regulator part of the alternator. So this is the voltage regulator. It's actually a motorcraft with my replacement. Got this at AutoZone, part number DL3506 16-2. So this is for that 2.5 liter 4-cylinder Ford Ranger. So I think it's either a 13 or 14 or a 15 socket to get to these 3 bolts here. I'm going to disconnect the battery, and then I can disconnect all of the other plugs on this alternator here. 1, 2, 3. And for that serpentine belt, it's actually going to be a normal socket here. So that will go into the recessed part of the serpentine belt tensioner pulley. And we'll release tension, get that belt off, and then start loosening the bolts here for the alternator. So pretty easy, some hand tools for this project. I'm going to utilize some of my Milwaukee's, but it's going to be good. So let's get your camera set and start working on it. Alright, so the bolts turned out to be 13 millimeters. Had that just slightly wrong there, so cracked them loose with my ratchet, and kind of show you on the new alternator how it's positioned here actually. So it's sitting in like this. So got one 13 millimeter long bolt here, and then 2 across these little bolts here. So it's kind of a hard angle. I'm gonna get this out and then kind of work on installing the new one. All right, so the old one is out, and I just want to kind of show that this has been replaced previously. Well, it's a Motorcraft. Interesting. Well, so this is the old one, and what it looks like is that this was maybe replaced. You can also hear that's having some issues. And part of the issue is when you get a remanufactured alternator from the store. Here's the new one. No noise. So this was struggling quite a bit. But I just want to point out, so this was a Motorcraft alternator, some aftermarket voltage regulator, and then on this one here I have a Motorcraft voltage regulator. This is my new one, but no real markings of what the shell was. But according to AutoZone, it's been triple tested, so we're gonna get this installed and check voltage. Okay, so the alternator's back in, car is started, and we're looking good. Charging system's right at 14.5, and I did also want to show that immediately when I started this car, my oil pressure gauge started working as well. But battery gauge is right in the middle. A good charging system, a good ground is going to solve a lot of problems here for you. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys found it interesting, and stay tuned for the next video.